Meeting of Folsom City Council, and Mr. City Attorney, I believe you have actions to report out on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Due to call on the title, the City Council authorized initiation of eminent action to acquire a portion of the parcel identified as item 3B on the closed session agenda.
Okay. Okay, seeing no other actions to report, we'll go ahead and adjourn the special meeting of Folsom City Council and call to order the regular meeting of the Folsom City Council for Tuesday, April 24th. The clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sheldon, Gaylord,
Here.
Howell,
Here.
Morin,
Here.
and Miklos.
Here, if you'd all please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Glad you can make this worthwhile meeting, as every meeting is. So with that, we'll go and move on to any agenda updates.
You have one agenda update tonight. Item 7H from the consent calendar will be continued off calendar.
Okay. City Clerk, please call the next item.
Your first scheduled presentation tonight is a presentation from Sacramento County Elections Department regarding implementation of the Voters' Choice Act.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm Alice Jarbo. I'm the Assistant Registrar of Voters for the County of Sacramento.
Oh, nice to meet you.
And thank you for having me here tonight. I would like to go through a PowerPoint, and please stop me if it's already information you know, or tell me to speed up or slow down, however you'd like me to do it.
It may be something we know, but it's something the community needs to know, so take your time. This is very important.
Okay, good, thank you. Sacramento County did opt to go to the Voters' Choice Act almost a year ago. What is the Voters' Choice Act? It stems from Senate Bill 450, which was signed by Governor Brown in 2016. It allows counties to conduct all vote-by-mail elections with vote centers. So it's not a true all vote by mail. It's a combination of everybody getting their ballot by mail and then voters deciding how they want to mark that ballot and how they want to return it. In June 6, 2017, the County Board of Supervisors opted into this Voters' Choice Act option. Let me go back for a moment. The Senate Bill 450 allows 14 counties to move forward. 5 of those counties have opted in this year. All the counties can opt in 2020. So we're the largest of the 5 counties. It also includes Napa, Madera, Nevada, and San Mateo counties. One of the big reasons that Sacramento, this was a good model for Sacramento, is around 2008, the number of people who were choosing to vote by mail started to surpass the number of voters who were going to vote center, to polling places. And as we've gone through elections, we've seen more and more people choose to vote by mail. They still use polling places to drop off their ballots, but they're not voting. They're not getting a ballot at a polling place and voting that ballot there. So what does vote by mail, what does that mean? Everyone who's registered to vote will get their ballot in the mail. The ballot is our pink envelope, and for this election it's 3 ballot cards. A lot of state propositions on this ballot, a lot of governor candidates, a lot of U.S. Senate candidates, making our ballot very long. Voters can choose what to do with that ballot. They can vote it, mark it, put it in their envelope, sign the envelope, return it by mail. It will take 2 stamps this time because it's 3 cards. Or choose to put it in a drop box without postage, drop it at a vote center without postage, or return it to our office. We do have a 24-hour box. If you're in the South Sacramento area, you really love that Burlington right next door, we have a 24-hour drop box. By law, 10 business days before the election, we can start processing ballots. We don't release results until 8 p.m. on election night. But for people who have the concern that we don't count vote by mail ballots unless it's a close race, remember the first results election night are vote by mail ballot results. So yes, we do count those. everything that we can validate, the signatures matching, all of that, we open the envelope and we count that ballot. So your ballot counts. What to do to make sure your vote by mail ballot counts? Mark your ballot clearly, sign your pink envelope, return your ballot on or before Election Day. Our website does have the option, the capability of telling you whether or not we received your ballot and whether that ballot was in good standing or whether we're challenging it for a signature doesn't match or you're missing a signature, that type of thing. You do have the opportunity to correct a missing signature or a signature that doesn't match. It's what we call our 8-day cure. We'll send the voter a notice. They have 8 days to reply to that notice with their current signature. They can fax it to us. They can fill out the form. They can come into our office. Vote centers. So as I said, the Voters' Choice Act is a combination of all vote by mail and vote centers. So we're not doing away with polling places. We're changing them to universal vote centers. So yes, there are fewer locations, but they're open for up to 10 days. A county our size, the number of vote centers and the number of drop boxes are based on the population at 88 days before the election. And you're probably all familiar with that date. That's the date that candidate filing closes. So that's a special date in elections. For every 50,000 residents or registered voters, we need to have one early vote center. So that means on May 26th, the 10th day before the election, we'll have at least 16 open. For this election, we decided to open 18 because just coverage, the 16 didn't quite fit the coverage need. And then the 4th day before the election, which is June 2nd, we have to have one vote center for every 10,000 voters. We were going off of the November 2016 registration, so we established 78 of those. So the initial 18 grows to 78 sites on June 2nd. Drop boxes, it's one for every 15,000 residents, so we have 53 of those. So what can you do at a vote center? Let's start at the bottom because the top button has a little bit more information behind it. So we'll have 3 accessible voting devices. Polling places only had 1. We're required to provide language assistance in 7 minority languages, and you'll be able to get that assistance at designated vote centers. You can get a replacement ballot. So say you have your ballot, your vote by mail ballot, and you mismarked it somehow. You thought you wanted to vote yes on this proposition, but after looking at it, you thought, no, I really wanted no. You can either cross that out and mail it in. We will consider that a voter intent and change your vote for you through a election code regulated duplication process. It's all very regulated. Or you can go to a vote center and get a replacement ballot. You can vote in person, or you can drop off your ballot. So if you really like the vote center, the polling place solution, you want to go to a polling place, that's what a vote center will do for you. You can show up, you can say, you know, I don't want to vote this pink vote by mail ballot. I would rather vote just a regular polling place style ballot. We'll produce a ballot for you. It doesn't matter where you vote. We have the capability through certified ballot printing devices to print your ballot for you at any of the 78 vote centers. So you're no longer required to show up at one assigned polling place on election day. You pick where you want to vote. You have 11 days to show up and vote. The important thing you can do at a vote center, and this is a new thing for California, is registering to vote after the deadline. You can only do this at our office or at a vote center. For the counties that are continuing to do the polling place model, those voters will have to go to their election office. For voters that are offering vote center model, you can appear at any vote center and say, you know, I missed the deadline to register, or I changed my last name, I changed my political party, I changed my address and I forgot to update that. I'd like to do that here. So we'll be able to update your registration and provide you with a ballot right there on the spot. Of course, our office would prefer that everybody register on time because that makes processing all the materials after the election a lot easier. But this is one of those fail-safes so that if you get busy with life, there's no reason to not vote. And this is important, the opportunity to register and vote at a vote center. In November of 2016, we had 33,000 people show up at the wrong polling place. We had 33,000 provisional ballots. Those are intense manual process. Probably about 85% of those count, but it takes us about 3 weeks to go through all the materials and validate that they were registered and eligible and voted the correct ballot. So all of that eligibility and voting the correct ballot goes away with the vote center solution. Ballot drop boxes. Ballot drop boxes are regulated by the state of California. So they have to be a certain style, a certain security. All of our ballot drop boxes, except for one, are inside a location and they're visible for the staff that are working that location. So they'll be able to see what's happening with the drop box. The drop boxes have a tether, so they'll be securable. And they're open during regular business hours. So whatever the facility is that's hosting the drop box, it's available during the regular business hours. So for libraries, they may not be open on a Monday, but they're open on a Saturday and Sunday. Mail Wrapped in Honda in Sacramento loves to be a drop box. They've been a drop box for several elections now. So we use a variety of well-known places for drop boxes. And as I mentioned, one drop box for every 15,000 registered voters. The one drop box that's the exception is our outside drop box at our facility. We do have a very large, secure, bolted to the ground, bollards around it, drive-up drop box. And if you're familiar with our facility, half of our facility is a sheriff's substation. So there's a camera on that drop box 24/7. All drop boxes close by 8 o'clock election night. So even ours, that's a 24-hour, that doesn't mean you get to come 24 hours election night. So if the host site closes before 8 o'clock, it closes at the time that the host site closes. If a host site like a Rayleigh's, we have 2 Rayleigh's that are drop boxes, they close later. We will have staff there at 8 o'clock to close and secure that drop box. The same solution for polling places. If somebody's in line waiting to vote, we'll be at the drop box a little bit early. If we see a line of people waiting to drop their ballot off, we will get behind the last person in line, and that is the last person that can use, as long as they're in line at 8 o'clock. We do the same thing with our drive-up drop box. We haven't actually had to have anybody stand in line behind a car yet, but we're prepared to do that. So there's more opportunities to fit everybody's lifestyle. We have 2 weekends, the week between, so May 26th all the way through June 5th. You have 2 weekends. You have Memorial Day, you have the week between, you have the Monday before Election Day. People are working more than one job. We have a lot of sandwich generation people. They're taking care of their elderly parents. They're taking care of their children, their grandchildren. Quite often, Tuesday is not a day that they can get out and vote. Now they can get out and vote in person. They have 2 weekends, they have Memorial Day. The same thing will happen in November. It'll be a run of 11 days that they can choose which day and where they are. If you're out having fun with your friends and you're at coffee in the morning somewhere outside of your own area, no worries. If there's a vote center nearby, show up and vote, get that taken care of. The other big consideration too was the cost. Our voting system was elderly for a voting system. It was 14 years old. Technology was very much out of date, and our central counting equipment, we had to put this special tape on the inside because the ballots had worn grooves through the metal edge of the feed trays. So we had to go to the state and get this special metal tape, get it certified for use on it. And even after every election, that tape was worn out. So it was, you wouldn't think that paper would wear a groove in metal, but when you're processing 1.5 million pieces of paper every election, it's amazing what it can do to a piece of metal. So the idea was, this is a great opportunity to maximize the vote center options while not spending upwards of $12 million on polling place equipment, that most people don't go to the polls anymore. So this is just a representation so you can visualize if we had polling places on the left, vote centers on the right, your different options. The drop box locations, we did go up one, so that is 53. We're going to have more workers at every vote center, more languages available, 93 total hours for somebody to choose to vote over a period of 11 days instead of just 13 hours on one day. Okay, so we have 18 vote centers opening on May 26th. That's what we call our 11-day vote centers. You might also hear them called 10-day vote centers. It's a total 11 days or 10 days before election and election day. So the numbers get a little confusing. We'll call those 11 days. We have four-day vote centers. We have 78 total. Those open June 5th. And for 28 days, that's the 4 weeks before election day and election day, we have 53 total drop boxes. And I think some sites might be opening a day earlier on May 7th. This is an overlay map. On the left are all the considerations we had to take into account when we were citing vote centers. The colorful map, the more intense the color means there were more considerations in that area. But we also keep in mind geographic isolated locations. So Wilton, Rancho Murrieta, Ileton, Herald area will also have a vote center. Folsom. So Folsom drop boxes, we have 3 drop boxes. Those are all open for the 28 days. At a minimum, they'll open May 8th. And vote centers. We have one 11-day vote center. Thank you, Folsom Fire, yay, for being the 11-day vote center for us. And there are 2 4-day vote centers. And there you are. So the catchphrase is vote how you want, when you want, where you want. Lots of great information on our website. If you go to our website and then look in the Voters' Choice Act tab, tons of information. All of the maps that informed our selections are there. The current listing of all the drop boxes and vote centers is also there. And I wanted to share so the SB 450 also requires that we provide information to the voters in the voter guide. Those are on track to start hitting the mail on Friday. We are sending out 700,000 of those, so it will probably take about a week to process through the postal system. So look for your mail, those should be coming soon. So we'll have the list of all the vote centers in the voter guide. Also with our pink vote by mail packet, the list will be there as well, in addition to a map of the drop boxes and the vote centers. All of that's on the website. Let's see. And that's my formal presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions while she's here? That was a great presentation. Perfect speed, too.
Oh, good, thanks.
Actually, I was going to say, in your opinion, do you think this will accelerate the vote counting at the end during the election? Or?
So we're hoping that it will. Something new for a vote center solution is we can start processing vote center ballots as soon as we bring them back each day from the vote center. Again, results won't be released until after 8 p.m. election night, but we can have those initial vote center voters' ballots in the count. We've never been able to do that before because with a polling place, those ballots came back only election night. And we were at the mercy of how quickly a polling place could pack up and get to our office. And the ones around our office in Florin, by 9 o'clock we had them. Fair Oaks, Isleton, Orangeville, it was probably 11:30 or midnight before those returns got back to us. So we weren't able to add those returns until very late or very early the next morning. We're anticipating having a lot more polling place style results at 8 o'clock. So we'll have a lot of the vote by mail ballot included in that, but we'll also have 10 days worth of vote center results. Yeah, good.
There is no such thing as an absentee ballot now.
Well, they're still called absentee ballots. Voting by mail.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, thank you for coming down and taking
All
time.
right.
I think this is, like I said, it was a very well thought out presentation, very easy for people to follow. And maybe we could put a link on our website so people can actually take those website address to the county and link in so they can see this again if they need be.
Great.
We already
Good.
have that up, Mr.
We do?
Mayor.
Oh,
We do.
We already have it. She's way ahead of us. I should have guessed.
She's wonderful.
Yes, she is. So, thank
All
you
right.
so much for that.
Thank you.
I should have never asked. Okay, call the next item, please.
She started to turn her head and give you a look as soon as
I
you
know.
started to say
I
it.
know.
Item 5B is a proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom declaring May 5 as Community Wildfire Preparedness Day.
And I've asked, pardon me, Councilmember Carrie Howell to do the presentation right down here at the podium.
Yay, look, it's Folsom Fire. Okay, great. This is a proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom declaring May 5th, 2018 as Community Wildfire Preparedness Day. Excuse me. Whereas the National Fire Protection Association designates Saturday, May 5th as National Community Wildfire Preparedness Day, and whereas California has experienced devastating wildfires in the last year, whereas Folsom is currently designated as a high-risk wildland urban interface community in the National Fire Plan, and whereas residents in areas with wildfire danger can impact the risk and severity of wildfires and reduce the risk of death, injuries, and property loss through their preparedness actions, whereas proactive actions from neighbors and communities working together on wildfire risk reduction efforts contributes to a fire-adapted community when wildfires do happen, and whereas Folsom residents can become local champions by committing a couple of hours or an entire day in providing services that improve defensibility and resiliency and moves them towards becoming a more fire-adapted community. Now, therefore, I, Carrie Howell, on behalf of Steve Miklos, Mayor of the City of Folsom, do hereby proclaim May 5th as Community Wildfire Preparedness Day throughout this community. I encourage the people of Folsom to participate in Day of Wildfire Preparedness and Service. Proclaim this 24th day of April 2018. So I don't know who's going to accept it.
Thank you so very much. I wanted to take a moment to show some great appreciation for some of our local champions here who have been working for this cause for many years, our Folsom Fire Safe Council, and take a moment to recognize you for the great work. We've partnered together recently to create some well-established plans for wildfire mitigation potential here within our city, and a lot of great work has been done for many years. I want to take this moment to honor you and show you some appreciation by presenting you with a certificate from the fire department, the women and the men of our department for the great work you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you guys want to say anything?
Well, Thank you for the honor. It's very much appreciated, and I would like to thank everybody on the Fire Safe Council, including the representatives from the city staff who participate, along with our partners at SMUD, PG&E, and the state and federal governments. They're all wonderful partners to work on this, and they've been great to work with. So
And now we know what retired fire chiefs do.
that's-
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Go ahead and call the next item, please.
Your next item is scheduled presentation 5C. This is presentation of the city manager's fiscal year 2018-19 proposed operating and capital budgets for the city of Folsom, the successor agency, the Folsom Public Financing Authority, and the Folsom Ranch Public Financing Authority.
Good evening, Jim. Whenever you're ready.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm Jim Francis, your Chief Financial Officer, and I'm going to present the city manager's proposed fiscal year 2019 operating and capital budgets for your consideration. I want to start by saying that when you adopt the budget, there are really 7 different funds that you're approving. For fiscal year 19 proposed, it totals $206 million roughly, which is about 2% more than last year, which was about $202 million. The main funds that we'll talk about tonight are the general fund at $90 million and the enterprise funds at $40 million. First, the general fund in terms of a summary. Again, proposed for fiscal year 18-19 is $90,200,000 in revenue, $89,200,000 in expenditures with a planned surplus of $1 million going into your fund balance, and keeping your fund balance at roughly 20%, which is what we've had the last couple of years. Obviously, we have to keep putting money in there to keep that number at 20%, but we feel like that's very doable. So again, for the proposed budget, we're planning on a $1 million contribution to the fund balance and keeping that at around 20%. In looking at the general fund revenues, there's a series of revenues we have. I'll take a look at some of the larger ones for you in more detail. Certainly, property tax and sales tax are your 2 largest funds, general fund revenues, and they total roughly $50 million of the $90 million. Property tax is up 6.3%. Which is based primarily on economic development and the city building out south of 50 and those kinds of increases. Again, we'll get into that a little more detail. You'll see charges for services is up 7.1%. That's primarily because of new services being offered by the police department, and we'll talk about that are reimbursed by the federal government. And you'll also see transfers in, a smaller number, but at 8.1%, and that represents really our effort to bring in from the equipment maintenance fund to fund some of the capital improvements. So our total revenue is about 5.3% increase over what we anticipate this year, and that's right in line with what we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. We've averaged about 5.5%. Over that period of time annually. If we look at the proportion of those revenues by type, our taxes being property tax and sales tax has gone from 54% in fiscal year 11 to 61.4% in fiscal year 19. So we've had more and more reliance on those two sources of funds. Our other funds have gone from 25.6 to 18.4. That reflects primarily the loss of redevelopment funds. And our charges for services has stayed fairly steady at 18.2 and gone up to 19.1. So that's been a fairly steady state over that period of time. In terms of property tax and the projection there, again, we're at almost 14 million, 13.9 is the gross secured assessed value. We're basing that primarily on the Prop 13 increase, which is the assessor's increase cost of living, which is the largest chunk. The Prop 8 increase now is really regulated mainly to just commercial changes, not to residential, although there are some residential changes. And the rest of it is with home sales, which we anticipate growing in the next year from where we've been. So we're looking at about a 6.2% increase in our assessed value. And if you take that number, that actually 13.9, and apply the city tax rate of 19.2%. And I want to point out what that means primarily to the public. When you get your tax bill, and let's say your home's worth $500,000. So 1% of it is $5,000, and that's your tax bill. Well, the city only gets 19.2% of that. And to round it, because I'm not very good with numbers, to 20%, that would mean the city only gets $1,000. So I think that's important to remember, that when you get a tax bill, we're only get 20% of that tax bill is all that comes to the city. We don't get that entire amount. The rest of it goes to schools and the county and other special districts. So when we apply that, we get 26.7 million. We have some deducts and adds to that, which brings us down to 25.9, and that's our 6.3% increase in property tax that we're anticipating. When we look at sales tax, there's two primary things. The point of sale, which is up about 4%, a little less than 4% at 20 million. And the state and county pool, which is at 4 million. And that's important because that's where our internet sales are. So we're looking at about 11% increase in internet sales from the 3.6 to 4 million. We've had double-digit increases in the past few years with our internet sales and expect that to continue. I'll outline that a little more detail.
Jim, have you, so there's some case law working through court systems, I think at the Supreme Court, related to companies like Amazon actually charging sales tax because they do their own sales. We're getting hit for sales tax on that as a purchaser. But third parties that I guess don't have a business in the state do not pay that. So any idea of if that law were to change where those purchases would also be subject to sales tax, but you know that you're showing us that $4 million number, any idea on how much that might move if that legislation were?
We've tried to analyze that. We really, because they don't report now, it's hard for us to get a good handle on it. What we've done is tried to back into that number because we know who is reporting. So, and Amazon obviously is the largest company that's involved in that, and so the bulk of that 4 million comes from them.
Right.
But we anticipate that we'd grow by about 25% if that went through.
Okay.
Again, that's a very rough estimate though of that number.
All right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. If you look down at the breakdown on our sales tax, general retail is proposed at 3.6%, and that seems low, but nationally that number is at about 2% or 3%. So it's a little lower than that, and so that shows a good health for our economy here. Transportation services are at 3%, and that's mainly car sales and gasoline sales. So car sales have been fairly flat the last couple of years, and we don't really see that as increasing. What will increase is maybe the price of cars, which will impact your sales tax, but not the number of cars. So we see transportation services being right around that 3% level. Food service at 5.5%, that's mainly food restaurants and grocery stores and that sort of thing. And that increase really is motivated by restaurants. That's where the increase is. And an interesting fact on that was that I heard this month was that for the first time nationally, the money spent on food outside the home, meaning restaurants and fast food, was more than the money spent on food for in the home, being from grocery stores and that sort of thing. That's the first time that that's been reported nationally. Again, the state and county pool is up 11% proposed, and we've again had double-digit increases there. That's your internet sales. And just as a point of reference on that, we lose a little bit of money on internet sales. We don't get what we would have if they were done actually in a store here. And the reason for that is the sale goes into the county pool, and then we get a share of that pool based on our share of taxes, sales taxes in the region. And it's assumed that our community does more shopping online than other communities in this county. So what happens is we lose.
How do they prove that, Jim? How do they know that?
That we have more, well, we can track all of the internet sales to each community in the county. We don't, but the Board of Equalization does. And we've got all that data. So we have more activity on internet buying than, and I think some of it's based on, not based on because the numbers at it, but just the income levels are higher here, and that seems to have a correlation with internet sales.
Interesting.
And then you've got construction and business-to-business services, which construction's up slightly and business-to-business is equal. So all that adds up to how we get to our 4.8% increase. I might point out that that's pretty much in line with what we've had. If you look at this increase for this year, it says -4, and that's correct. But in fiscal year 17, there's actually an overpayment in there. They sent us somebody else's payment. We wanted to keep it, but they told us we had to give it back. So that, if we adjusted that, our increase this year would be about 5% in our sales tax.
Jim?
Yes?
The variance on the business-to-business from the actual in 17 from 4 to 2.
That was a, I can't use the actual company name because that's prohibited, but that was catch-up where we actually weren't paid some sales tax that we should have gotten, and they made it up in that 1 year. That was a new business to the city. I can say that much anyway.
That's enough.
If I look at our charges and license and permits, you can see that we're up about 5% from 16.4 to 17 million. And the story here is primarily in the ambulance fees and the police contract. Park and rec fees are fairly flat. They're up a little bit. Ambulance fees are up to almost 3.6 million from 3.1. And that's because we're going to have Medic 3 plan in this budget of having Medic 3 in operation for the entire year. And we would expect the revenue to come in because of that. The police contract is for the 24/7 police services up at Folsom Lake Dam. And that would,
Did we get a response on that yet?
we have not. We have not gotten a response. We've put that money in this budget. It can easily come out. We've identified it all if we don't get that contract. But we're very positive that we're going to get it, so we thought we'd build it right in and let you have that consideration.
Do we still think that we were the only people that went after the contract?
Yes, I believe so. I'd look to Rick. Is that? He's nodding yes, yeah, so.
Thanks, Rick.
So those are the main stories with our charges and license. The other thing I'd point out is on all other, that's down only because we don't include our OES reimbursement. We don't know what the Office of Emergency Services will be during the year, so we don't budget for it. Neither do we budget for the costs associated with it.
Jim, one other curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Building permits are down and plan check fees are up dramatically. Why is that? Well, actually, how can that be?
Yeah, it's a combination really of those three. And part of it is that we don't like, in terms of the budgeting anyway, we don't like the ups and downs that those categories can give us. So we try to make that a more even plane in terms of the revenue that we associate. So we consciously, on the proposed numbers, those are probably a little low on all of them. The building permits are simply based on what we estimated coming in next year for the building, from the building department. And those are down a little bit because I think a lot of the developers are anticipating bringing them in this year before June 30th. Especially south.
But the weird thing is that building permits are down, plan check fees are way up, planning and engineering fees are down a lot, and public works fees are down.
It's largely a matter of timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of these things are early in the business cycle. Some of them, the building permit is at the very end, generally, of the building cycle.
I'm just thinking that what we anticipate for 18-19 compared to what we saw in 16-17, 17-18,
Yeah.
that number looks a little wonky to me.
Yeah, we're, again, 18, 19, and on building permits and the fees and planning and engineering fees, again, we try and be very conservative with those numbers, only because they're hard to anticipate.
Well, hard to anticipate, and we don't want to relive the disaster that we had 15 years ago.
That's correct. Yeah. So we don't want to rely on that and not have it occur.
Right.
This is just a quick look at Parks and Recs because they're the largest factor in charges of services. And for the most part, like I said, they're up a little bit for the year, but mainly flat in terms of the anticipated revenue from those services. When we look at general fund appropriations, again, by department and by category, we had some principles that we had discussed with you as the council earlier and that we tried to follow in putting it together. And those were to build our fiscal sustainability, to address our deferred maintenance issues, to strengthen core services, invest in the future, and also have that community balance of services. And so we'll reflect on those as we go through how the budget's put together. First of all, though, by category, just major category, you've got $90 million, $90.2 million proposed. 37 million of that is salaries, and that's a 9% gain. Now, I will point out, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, there are a number of new positions in this budget, and those are all reflected in here. So that if we didn't have those, that 9% would be about 4.5%. So, and all of these numbers, benefits, salaries and benefits will reflect having the new positions in the budget. So benefits are up 13%. Again, that would probably be around 9% without the new positions. Operations and maintenance it is down actually. There are a lot of one-time expenses in fiscal year 18. So this, if we took those out, that 19 million would drop by at least $1.5 million. So your O&M is really up about 4%, not as it's pictured here. Again, outlay, we've tried to address some issues of vehicles and other kinds of outlay. So that's up from 2.3 to 4 million. And the good news being that debt service is the City Hall debt service is gone. And we're down to 908,000 in terms of our debt service from the general fund. If we take the 37 million of salaries and look at that in a little more detail, you'll see that 32.9 is permanent salaries, but temporary, and that's again based on the new positions being in the budget. Temporary wages are up about 7%. That's mainly a reflection of the minimum wage increase. It was $11 on January 1st. It will be $12 on January 1st of the next year, and each year it will go up until it hits $15. So most of that is related to the minimum wage increase. Overtime just reflects differences in salary levels. Annual leave, which is down 12%, 83,000, is actually a better story than that. If you recall back a number of years, we changed the annual leave process in the contracts of all the unions, and you supported that. This number, if we didn't have those changes, this number of 581 would be slightly over $2 million. So that one change that you made in the contract is saving us over $1.5 million a year right now. So that's like I say, that's a better story than it shows here. And it's now, we were charging almost 7% of salaries at that time. We're now down, this is 2% of salaries. And then this is the staffing that we talked about. There are a total of 29.9 positions. 26 or 27 of them are in the general fund. When you break that down, I made 4 categories here, but the Folsom Lake Dam security is 9 of those positions. So
that basically is canceled out by the contract with the feds, right?
Yes, those are all covered by the contract with the feds. And then you have the opening of the Empire Ranch Fire Station, which allows the 6 firefighters, allows that opening and the continuation of the Medic 3 unit. So you've got 6 firefighters. You also had the increase in the fire revenue that's associated with that. So that's 15 positions. And then you have some south of 50 increases due to the workload there. There's 3 police officers because we're going to have people living down there next year and more as time goes by. So we're proposing adding 3 police officers. And then there's 3 positions in community development to help with the processing of permits and plans down there. And then there's a accounting tech from an administrative standpoint and a park planner who will start, it's split there, you'll see it on both sides, between south of 50 work and some park planning in terms of north of 50. And then we have program improvements, and those include from the library tech and assistant, which will allow us to have extended hours on Sunday, as well as some more beginning reading programs. We have, again, a park maintainer in addition to the planner to help with the maintenance of parks. We have a media and marketing specialist to help in our media efforts. We talked about the account tech and the park planner. The process improvement specialist is a position that we're proposing that would help us in better engaging the software that we're becoming more and more reliable on, so that we take advantage of improving the process while we do that, and not just taking our old process, putting it into the new software that we might have. And then there are 3 positions which are in the enterprise funds: a solid waste transit manager, split between solid waste and transit, SCADA programmer and utilities, which would again be in charge of the SCADA software, which helps monitor and control all of the wastewater and water programs, and then administrative tech and solid waste. What that shows in terms of how our positions have changed over time, we were at 587 at our high point in 07-08. We reduced it down to 413 in 13-14. That was during the recession. And now we're up to 475, 476 at this point. So you're still down, and I'll break this as general fund and the enterprise funds. So you're still down 100 positions from 460 to 360 in the general fund from that point, and you're down 11 positions in the enterprise funds. And I think this is important because you know, there's been a lot of stories about cities having difficulties at this point in time and fiscal problems and so on. And this really represents the difference between those cities, quite frankly, and here. You've had a number of, you've taken the opportunity to make this a process that's well thought out, and you've given consideration to the positions as we need them. What you see with cities that are having problem is they were at, say, the 600 level. First of all, they didn't go down as far as we did. They went to maybe 460, not down even further. And now if you look at what they're doing, they have come back and they're beyond the 600 and into the 650 kind of range. So they have more people than they had before the recession. And I could have told, anyone could have told you, you know, if you do that, you're going to have some problems. Because if we had another, well, I'll just take the general fund. If we had another 100 positions, you know, you're talking $10 million at least for that. So, and we don't have $10 million. So you know, this is a chart that I think really sets Folsom aside and out in front of other towns in terms of, and cities in terms of their financial sustainability.
So the 475 is, reflects the 30 positions in the budget total, right?
I'm sorry, what was it?
475 is reflecting the 30.
Yes, that reflects the 30. Yeah, they're in that. And so if we look at the benefit detail, then the 28 million, PERS obviously is the biggest. And we've had some discussion on that. It amounts to about 2.2 million, 19%. Again, the 30 positions are in that. That's not, I mean, we were expecting those kinds of increases, and we'll talk about what they mean to us. FICA's up. Again, all the increases here reflect with the new positions. PERS reflects the new positions and the new rates, because that's what changed with those. And this shows the PERS rates and where we were in fiscal year 08. The red line is the safety, and the darker line is the miscellaneous personnel. So we were at 23 and 15% of salary. For fiscal year 19, we're at 49.9% and 33.5% with expected gains on that.
Jim, do those percentages, because the employees all contribute some to the PERS stuff, is that what, does that include the employee share as
No.
well? Okay. so
Employee
that's
share
just-
is in addition to
okay.
that. This is just our share. Yep. And when we get into the long-term planning part of this session, I'll have a few more details on what that means dollar-wise for us. Now, in terms of the principles that we outlined, what's the budget do in terms of those? Well, building sustainability. We've planned to increase the fund balance by $1 million, keep it at 20%. That will give us certainly more flexibility if we do have economic times that turn on us. The budget also increases the contingency fund to 1% of the ongoing costs, so that's about $800,000 in contingency that's in this budget. So again, that gives us some flexibility in terms of the existing year. There's no new debt proposed in this, so we've not committed the city to any future obligations in that regard. And then we also have added some additional servers for the police information technology to have redundancy so that we're not susceptible to outages and having 911 be without IT services, which we wouldn't want to have happen. But this would have redundancy to that. In terms of addressing deferred maintenance, we have a number of different projects. The Aquatic Center pool renovation is in there. We have solid waste vehicles we're buying. We're replacing some police vehicles. We want to start remodeling of Fire Station 38. That's certainly only phase one of that. A remodel would be about $1.5 million probably for that, but we thought over 2 or 3 years we could address that. We have some public work vehicles, and then we have about $500,000 for roof repair, which isn't real exciting but necessary at both at the police station, at City Hall, and at the library.
What's wrong with the roof at the library?
Well, there's the one section, I forget if it's the teen room, it's leaking through the roof there, coming down through the windows, and it ruined the carpeting and a bunch of other stuff that was in that room. So we haven't opened it up to know the extent of it, but
Worse than you think, I'm sure.
yeah. So, but we thought we'd address it before it got even bigger. We are replacing a Type 6 fire engine and refurbishing another fire engine, and then we have trail and drainage improvements and maintenance built into the budget. In strengthening the core services, again, we're assuming the Folsom Lake Dam contract, and that's in here with the officers and the administrative support. We also have in here a contract for a community prosecutor so that our priorities will be addressed rather than us having to fight with region-wide priorities with the prosecutor's office. And they would work just on our cases and whichever ones we deemed the most priority. We're also going to open the Empire Ranch Fire Station and continue Medic 3. In addition, we're getting a new Type 3 fire engine for Empire Ranch. And then we have the SCADA programmer specialist that I mentioned before. Investing in the future, Green Valley Road widening should take place this next fiscal year. We do have south of 50 starting to grow and expand, so we have positions on that. We want to implement the general plan and parts of the zoning codes and so on that. that you've just adopted. We have provided for some economic development money in the budget of about $125,000. We want to invest or contribute $500,000 to the Retiree Health Trust Fund, which is the number we've had the last couple of years, to build that fund up to help fund retiree health. And then the process improvement specialists, which again I mentioned earlier. In having a balance to our services in the community, we've got Oak Park Trail undercrossing at almost $2 million. We have a Lake Natoma Class 1 trail to finish, and that's $1.3 million. We're going to have the outdoor cover at the sports center put in. We want to extend the Sunday library services, and that's the hours and also the programs. Again, we want to address our media and marketing efforts through the position and some changes to some of our literature. And we have a series of smaller park and rec improvements that total $474,000. If we look at the appropriations by department, you can see how that's been appropriated. Again, the largest increases are police and fire, representing both the contract, the new contract for fire or for police services at the dam, and fire, or the opening of Empire Ranch Station and Medic 3 continuation. So they represent, public safety represents 18 of the 27 positions in the general fund. And then you have a number of other increases in the other departments. Again, there's, from a position count, there's about 5.9 that are service-oriented, and you've got 3 in general government. And that's how that 27 positions, again, in the general fund break out. When you look at that over appropriations, and we've used this chart for a number of years as to how the general tax revenue is allocated to those areas, again, it's been a pretty steady state for a long time. You're at close to 60% for public safety. Community development and public works has increased, but that's because we had some pressure for our to put in from the county and state money to have our fair share of participation in projects. And then Parks and Rec and Culture has gone up a little bit, and non-departmental down, and general government's about the same. So that's a common theme and practice that's been around for a long time, and we've maintained that in this budget. Again, this is your general fund balance. We plan on growing it by $1 million, and we plan on keeping the number at around 20%, a little above that. And you can see where we were and where we went to in terms of the recession. So then if we want to look at the enterprise funds, the water fund first, our revenue is fairly flat. That's maybe a little understated because we don't know about some construction water and the estimates there and what that would cost that might bring the revenue up somewhat. The expenses are not are flat, 13.6 to 13.2. There's no new debt, although we do have debt service in there. Again, there's half of the programmer in there, and our working capital is in good shape. The one thing I would point out with the water fund is the difference between our revenue on just the program revenue and the operations is not enough. That is not enough to keep your capital program on a pay-as-you-go basis. And so that would be something that you should look at in the near future. Wastewater, again, the revenue is up with new connections slightly. The costs are pretty flat. There is no debt, and we don't plan on having any new debt with the wastewater program. Again, you've got more of a margin here between these two numbers, but it's probably right on the line as to what you need to generate to keep, again, the capital projects on a pay-as-you-go basis rather than on a debt basis. Solid waste, again, revenue's fairly flat. Your expenses are up somewhat, and that's really because we've added on the capital side probably about $400,000 more than we would normally have in that program. Other than that, most of it's pretty flat, and there, again, you would need to look at, to maintain their capital program, you would need to look at ways to either reduce expense or look at their revenue stream. Transit is pretty self-sustaining, and that's through intergovernmental revenue. We get in roughly what we're going to pay out, and sometimes it doesn't fall in the same year, but it balances out. We have a small capital investment, and that's for an SUV, a handicapped accessible SUV in that program. There are a couple of little programs. They've got a mini transit program they're going to explore this coming year, and the costs for that are in here. And they also have the...
Is that over and above the program that RT is going to put in place?
Yeah, I believe it's associated with that, so there's a lot of coordination. It's called microtransit, so. Yep.
And there's also the light rail down to the arena, and that's got a small amount in here as a pilot program to make it easier to get to the arena for events.
Well, doesn't the whole get to the arena question go away once RT expands the operating hours in June?
Well, it's just a small amount, and I'd have to ask.
Essentially, yes, right? The
Yeah.
operating hours on the goal line will expand across the entire goal
Right.
line. So instead of having different operating hours between Sunrise and the historic Folsom Station, there would be uniform operating hours along the entire goal line. So the simple answer is yes.
Yeah. On our capital improvement plan, these are just some of the major projects. It's by no means all of the projects scheduled, but the Green Valley Road widening, the Empire Ranch traffic signals for the coming year, putting those in. There's a Toma Alley sewer rehab project. We expect to do about a little over $2 million in street resurfacing. The Oak Park Trail undercrossing and the Lake Natoma Class 1 trail. We have about $1 million to invest in Davies Park. And also the Aquatic Center pool renovations, about $1 million. And then the Sports Center cover and starting the remodel.
Jim, what is the Sports Center cover? What are they covering?
That's to cover the area outside of the Sports Center, the basketball courts, and so that the sun doesn't have a direct beat down on. And it's also, there's also I believe I don't want to say picnic area, but an area where you can picnic there that will be covered.
Okay.
This shows just the funding sources of the CIP, and the relevant part of this is simply the amount on impact fees. I think the thing that we have to consider for the future anyway is that those impact fees are primarily for north of 50. South of 50, we've covered that with different fees. But these will run out soon. And we won't be able to use that source of money. Well, we won't have that source of money for capital and projects in the near future. And so that's an area that we need to examine as to how are we going to generate the capital to do some of these capital improvements that we have that will need to be done in the future.
And do we have a contingency in case SB1 gets overturned?
No, just to go back to gas tax, I mean, we don't have a contingency in that.
No, I'm not talking about the gas, well, that's really SB1. That's different from the regular gas tax.
Right. But no, there's no contingency for that money. In terms of the looking ahead and the forecast to see what we might have in front of us, deferred maintenance of the infrastructure that we just talked about is going to be an issue, and how we pay for some of that. And some of it's just routine maintenance, and some of it might be new projects, and some of it's kind of boring stuff, like we had roofs in here, but we will have those expenses, and like I said, we need to develop ways to address those because the funds simply won't be there. Wages certainly are always a consideration. The CalPERS rate increases are the minimum wage rising to $15. We have our active and retiree health care costs, and we never know what the state's going to do, so we always throw them into the mix. When we look at that and we look at some of the trends, CalPERS, again, for this year, we're at a $2.2 million increase. This is looking out the next 4 years after that. So we're looking at a downward trend, but it's still 2 million and then down to a little over 1 million, and that's an increase. So if you look at this another way is in 16-17, we had contributions of 10.4 million. Well, in 22-23, we're at 20 million. And so those are, now we've known about that. We've tried to plan for that. We've tried to be able to take that into account in the planning, and I think we'll be able to accommodate that. When we look at just generally in the last 5 years, fiscal year 13 to 18, our revenue grew at about 4.9% total, and our expenditures were about the same at that 4.9. Now we're looking at it slightly more in terms of revenue in the next 5 years, and that's because of the economic growth of the city and the strength of it. So that's based on that growth. And our expenditures, though, will also grow. So you'll see wages were averaged less than 1% in those last 5 years, and that's because we had some wage freezes and some things like that. Well, we don't have those anymore, and so that will be up at about 4.7, we estimate. Your benefit increase is going to be, again, your PERS increases and your health care increases, as well as some others. And that one we need to address. And then the other one is, O&M we're projecting will be fairly much cost of living. We don't anticipate adding a lot of new debt or any debt, some of it going away. But the capital area will be the other one that we will need to look at. This is kind of a modest capital increase. But we'll have expenditures going up about 5.6%. And then when we look at that and chart it out, you'll see the green line is revenue at 5.5%. So if you had revenue growth at 5.5%, that's what it would look like over that period, that 5-year period of time. The bottom line, this blue line, is if a revenue is at 4.5%. So it's just a 1% switch, but that's the bottom, that bottom line. The red line is what we anticipate our expenditures will be. So, we're right in the middle, kind of dodging this and that and the other thing. And we need to keep monitoring that. It looks like it gets better in the farther out we go, and we hope that's true. But that's our model, and we think that what you've got now and what's being proposed is certainly sustainable out that period of time. So the cautions would be that the sustainability obviously is dependent on the economy. The revenue options we have are limited and somewhat economic dependent. Benefit costs increases are our major expense pressure. Sustainability depends on managing costs, not waiting for revenue growth. And again, that's probably the most important caution I would give you. And the thing that has set you apart from other communities, it's because that's what you've focused on. Everybody else thought, well, they'd grow back into it through revenue, and I can put all the people back that we had before and so on, and that hasn't worked for any community. And then the other caution would be that there are limited financial options for growth in capital costs and our general maintenance, and again, the impact fees that I brought out before. Summary, your general fund is fiscally sound, it's balanced, and it's sustainable out in time. We believe we can continue to grow the general fund balance. We will continue to make strides in addressing the maintenance and asset replacement. The enterprise funds are in good financial shape, but the investment in your assets will be difficult to do on a pay-as-you-go basis in terms of how they're currently set up, and we would need to monitor those very closely. With that, I would end and see if there's any questions.
Any questions for Jim?
Yeah, I got a couple, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, go ahead,
Stupendous, both in the detail there as always, and, the format's very similar from year to year. So I think not only us, but others in the public interested in seeing this, it's easy to get through a lot of numbers and really get into some detail, whatever somebody might be interested in. You're close to last point there. Do we have we initiated a look into some rate studies on our utility funds there?
We have
Okay.
in water, wastewater, and solid waste. We've initiated those.
Just as a reminder to the community, how far back do we have to go since the last rate increase? Those have been so stable for so long, and it doesn't surprise me that we're finally getting to a point where we do need some, at least some cost of living adjustments on those funds. But it has been.
I think it's 2011 was the last time we adjusted water, and that was just before the water meters.
Right.
It's 11 or 12,
being read.
So anyway, my thanks to, all the work in those utility funds for maintaining that stability, even, through the recessionary times there. So again, it doesn't surprise me, and I would just kind of caution our residents that, we're probably going to have to finally adjust those upward a little bit, but we'll see what the rate studies show.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could
Yes.
just add one thing, that the Utility Commission started reviewing the cost of service analysis for the water and the wastewater funds at their April meeting. They will continue to do so at a special meeting this next Tuesday, which is May 1st, if I'm looking at the calendar in my head very well. So May 1st here, Utility Commission will take another look at that. We expect that to be in front of the council sometime in July. With Prop 218, you have to have a 45-day public review period for the rates once the Utility Commission is done with their exercise. And then that will be coming to you in a plus or minus 55 days or so.
Okay, great.
And I've made this request before, and I think it happened for a while. I'm not sure if we've been doing it the last couple of years, but I think that's something that those utility rates are something that we need to at least look at probably on an annual basis. Not necessarily the full-blown study, but at least keep up with that and get a presentation so that we know which direction we're headed.
Understood.
So just a couple other things quickly. Let's see. So just looking at a few pages in here. So the Broadstone sales tax sharing, and that's under, I think, other something or another, non-departmental. Is that, so you show a $900,000 number there. Is that both, because we have that bifurcated between the Power Center and I believe the Palladio. Is that both
No,
included?
that's just the Broadstone.
Just the Broadstone. And
Both.
remind.
You'll see, if I can go back.
Yeah, so we see,
When I add both, sorry. It's right at the beginning, of course. There it is, the tax sharing number, the 2275. If you look at tax
Okay.
sharing
So,
off the property tax.
got
yeah,
it.
2275.
Boy, I remember reworking trying to simplify the details because it was really complicated. And this goes back 10 or 12 years. But I believe that sunsets here.
Does,
Okay.
and I believe it's 2 years.
Okay, so maybe the next year or two, we would see a column in there where we'd see that
Yes.
jump. And then the last thing here on the detail of the general fund debt, which I appreciate you piecing that out on page like V7. But it shows the SACOG loan there, and is that the Johnny Cash Trail Phase 2? Was that what that was about?
Yeah, I see a nod from Robert, Phase 2.
Okay, and do you remember, so we have that this year, was that like 2 or 3 years that we,
It's, well, it goes through 23, 24.
23, 24, okay, so just to jumpstart that program and complete that trail segment, so, very good, that's what I thought that was. And my last comment is I always appreciate you showing the, kind of those percentages on the categories that we spend the general fund money on, and, I think we have a good balance there, we've had a good balance for a long time, and, it's very nice to see that, we have adjustments up and down a little bit, especially when, you hire firefighters and police officers in blocks, so to speak. But those numbers look finely balanced over, the decade that you showed up there. So I appreciate the city manager and city staff's attention to that as well, because I think it served this community well. So with that, thanks a lot, Jim.
Gary, any questions?
Great presentation. I think I asked my questions throughout, but I do want to thank all the staff because I know you all worked really, really, really hard putting this budget together. And I will say that in the time that I've been here, the budget presentations on the preparation of the hard copy documents, as large as it is, have been streamlined and made easier to understand. And I appreciate
Good.
that.
Thank you.
Roger, questions?
I'm sure I'll have more later, but I appreciate everything on here, and to Carrie's point, it's very detailed and structured, so I appreciate that. Last year I mentioned possibly looking at incorporating the covers over play structures in the city within the Parks and Recs tab. I don't know if that's something we can at least, I know Robert's looked at it and it's been kind of talked about, but it'd be nice to start looking at chipping away at those going forward.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
I'm glad you mentioned Park and Rec. I had a talk before, a few weeks back with the city manager in general terms about what I thought we needed to add, and I see most of it is there with the pool correction and things like that. Excuse me. But I would like the council to give a consideration to direct the city manager to go back and look at one item when it might be somewhat expensive. It's the resurfacing of Livermore Park, the football field. And that is primarily my concern, is that it's past the warranty. It's about a year past the normal tenure of the turf. And I think it's a safety because we have 4 major organizations, 2 youth football play on there, a soccer and a lacrosse. Those are all high-speed, fast games. And we've been making, for the last couple of years, we've been making improvements. We've been patching it and doing this and that, making it work. But I think it gets to be, the kids get to be safety. And to me, I think we have to look at that. So I would like the council, through the mayor, to ask the city manager, along with you, Jim, to go back and take another look at it. We can maybe find some money to do that so that it can't get done, I don't think, this year. But if we get it appropriated this year, we can get it planned and have it done before next year. So that's again, this is a great piece of work, a lot of hard work. It's going to take a few hours of reading, I'm sure of that. But that was my one item that jumped out at me.
Okay.
Thank you.
I can see Terry sitting out there, so she still hasn't run from the building screaming. I haven't seen her medical benefits go up, so you guys are doing a good job of putting this together without going crazy. So in all seriousness, on behalf of the city council, I just got to say, Jim, to you and your staff to start with, I really appreciate you guys sticking to the direction and the policies we put in place, and you hit it right on the mark with the one statement about we manage expenses, not pray or hope for revenues. And I think that is the proper way to manage any business, let alone when you're dealing with somebody else's money, and we're talking in excess of $200 million. So I think you guys hit a home run with that one. Andy said a lot of things I was going to say, so I'm just going to say ditto. I agree with you, Mr. Moore. One thing I wanted to bring up, and again, we're looking at everything in totality. And I'm also looking at things going forward in the future. And one thing that struck me, and we actually kind of a little bit of exercise when we were talking about campaign contributions, the cost of living, and so on and so forth. For people that don't know, this position is, I always call it the ultimate volunteer, and I'm happy to volunteer the 24 years I put into it and would never complain. But what I am finding and hearing throughout the community, it's been a number of years now, probably 4 or 5 years, is that we're not actually opening up our candidate pool because the stipend we receive up here is not enough for a lot of these folks to take time off to participate in probably 90% of what we do in the region. Because unfortunately, other than a couple of commissions in the region, all of them are during the day. And if you look at the composition of what's up here, we're either self-employed, retired, or we have a lot of flexibility, like as the Mayor Andy Moran had with his position being downtown. He could cover for a lot of things. But what I'm hearing very much so is that we need to adjust the compensation for council members to encourage the people on 9-to-5 jobs. We've lost council members because of the fact that they left the city council because they were taking all their admin, sick leave, and or vacation time to do the council position, and it was leaving their families out, leaving family time out. So what I'd like to, with the discussion up here with my colleagues is, I'd like to do it won't take very long, it's public record, just do a survey of what the cost of living would have been between, I think, 2001, when the last compensation was set for this city council. Because
it was 19, the last conversation.
Could have been 99 even.
No, the last conversation took place, it was Bob Holderness and Glenn Fate's last council meeting in 1998.
Well, we had one with Vice Mayor Drew and Asa Tuna when they were on. That was the last one, when they proposed something. It was around 2001, if I remember correctly. I can look it up. But anyway, the point being is, if you just assigned a cost of living in the same manner we assigned a cost of living when we had discussion about campaign contributions, we'd be substantially higher than we are today. I'm not proposing that. However, I'm proposing a stipend that's realistic to allow people in a 9-to-5 job sector that they have to take a day off with no pay, that the stipend would at least help cover and defray some of those costs. Because again, we're not, in my opinion, we're not allowing opportunities for the 9-to-5 sector to step up and do this job. Because again, the key is it's not a full-time paid position, so anyone that calls me a full-time paid politician will have a conversation outside for the next 24 years. But really what it is to be able to bring in a bigger candidate pool, not make it a financial burden, not only to the actual council member, but as importantly to their family. And really kind of open it. If we're looking at everything in totality, which we have been doing the last couple of meetings, let's look at that one as well. So, Mr. Manager and Mr. Francis, if you can kind of look at some of the salary surveys that are out there and readily available, and maybe bring something back in the next discussion we're going to have, including the stuff I agree with the Vice Mayor about the parks, if we can start advanced planning on that one as well. Because again, I just want to make it fair and equitable for everybody to have an opportunity to be able to participate, because yeah, our stipend is not keeping up with anything. And again, it's not to make a paid position out of this position. It's basically to have a fair wage to be able to have a lot of people participate in the opportunity to sit in one of these chairs. And I think we're missing a big pool by our stipend being as low as it is, and experiencing what the costs have just gone outrageous. I mean, just look at parking and gasoline alone. that alone sucks up your stipend. So I do appreciate the fact that we are, again, keeping our promise to the community as far as showing our police and fire services. I really appreciate the fact that I'm happy to see all the park improvements we promised. And as Ernie knows, and most people in this community have known for many, many years, we're trying to play catch-up responsibly in all the parks that we proposed in the community that weren't and didn't have a revenue stream. when they first were proposed, and we're still trying to play catch-up. So I really appreciate and hope that future councils will keep that commitment to the community to finish the amenities in the park system that I know these two, Mr. Moore and Mr. Sheldon, worked very hard not too long ago in a subcommittee to pare down what we actually could do and actually be a sustainable number over the number of years. So I think your comment is perfect in timing. So hopefully we keep that commitment. But overall, again, I can't be more pleased, Mr. Palmer, about you and your staff's commitment to the community, to the city council's policies and procedures, and as always, Jim, remarkable, outstanding job and presented to the community in such an easy way they can understand how we spend our $200 million every year. So with that, I want to thank you and your staff, and certainly everybody within City Hall and all the department heads that contribute to this effort, because I know it's a monstrous effort. And I know once this gets passed, you'll start looking at next year already, the next one. So thank you so much.
Already started that.
I know you have. So with that, if there's not any further questions, we'll go ahead and call the next item.
Your next item is business from the floor, and you have 3 requests to speak. The first request is from David Oliver, who will be followed by Diana Oliver, who will be followed by Beth Kelly.
Okay, so business from the floor are items that are not on the agenda. You have 3 minutes to go ahead and tell us what you think. Because it's not agendized, you can ask us questions, but because it's not agendized, we really can't answer those questions. We can only give direction to staff if need be. So I don't want you to think we're sitting up here like a bunch of deer in headlights. So welcome and thank you for your patience. I hope that you appreciate the budget presentation. Good evening, sir. This microphone right there is fine. And thank you again for your patience.
Good evening, Mayor Miklos and the other members of the City Council. Thank you for allowing me a chance to speak today. My name is David Oliver. For 10 years, up until the beginning of this year, I was a board member on the Friends of the Folsom Zoo Sanctuary. However, I'm not here speaking on their behalf because I am no longer a member. The reason I served on the board was because I truly believed in the mission of the Folsom Zoo, which, as the front entrance says, its motto on the front entrance is teaching responsible behavior towards all animals. And the key word there, I think, is responsible. The zoo does this by only taking animals that have been injured, separated from their parents, or held in captivity where they're no longer able to survive in the wild on their own. The zoo sanctuary and its history of animal care and education is clearly one thing the city should be extremely proud of. So I was dismayed and disheartened to hear about the plans for an interactive aquarium at the Palladio Mall called Sequest. Please note that Sequest is not a nonprofit, is not an accredited aquarium by the Association of Zoo and Aquariums. The aquarium encourages feeding of wild animals, sleeping with stingrays, and other interactive activities of that kind, which would not be defined as responsible in my mind. And of course, this is at the Palladio, which is a retail establishment where I would not expect to see a petting zoo or any other kind of animal exhibit next to the Starbucks and the Nordstrom's rack over there. So if you do a little research into the company behind Sequest, it shows a disturbing trend of ill-cared for and dead animals in Portland, which is now closed, and Las Vegas. And the owners of Sequest, Aman and Vince Cavino, have numerous legal issues, including illegally trafficking in wildlife. I am not certain what permits or approvals have already been given or will be given to Sequest at the Palladio. I would highly encourage, if possible, not allowing Sequest into Folsom. I would note that Folsom Municipal Code 7.04.020 prevents the keeping of wild animals within city limits. At a very minimum, I urge city staff to look more closely at this business and make sure its policies and practices are of the highest caliber when it comes to acquiring animals and providing their care. Animal Services should monitor Sequest very closely. If Sequest opens, the Animal Services in Folsom will likely be the only authority that can ensure proper care is given to the animals. Sequest has a bottom line, and it is not animal care, it is profit. I would hope that publicly available acquisition of animals and veterinary records be made public so that Folsom can continue to be responsible to all animals. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Person?
Next person is Diana Oliver, and Diana will be followed by Beth Kelly.
Good evening.
Hello, I'm Diana Oliver. I'm a Folsom resident, performance artist, activist. I worked for the Animal Protection Institute. I volunteered for the Folsom Zoo as a docent, and I wanted to share with you some of the findings that I think the public needs to be aware of. In 2013, Ammon Covino, sentenced to 12 months in prison, to federal prison, by the way, because he was conspiring with a fellow aquarium co-founder, his brother basically, for illegally harvesting stingrays and lemon shark. In 2013, they had over 200 animals that died at the Portland Aquarium in a span of 6 weeks. If you do your research and you look into all of the documents, you will see that there's evidence of that. Also, his brother has repeatedly broken the law when it comes to dealing with wildlife, so much that he was arrested again and served 30 days in jail and had to pay $50,000 to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. So hint, maybe keep an eye on these people, and if they break the law again, have them make a sizable donation to the Folsom Zoo Sanctuary. That'd be cool. In 2016, they were forced to close that facility. They've also been fined $5,000 for failing to disclose to potential investors. The Las Vegas manager accused them also of mistreatment of animals, resulting in the death, including the offenses were withholding food from animals in order to get them to perform in front of guests. So I just wanted to let you know that it's activists like ours, a hashtag Stop Sequest Folsom. There's now up to 400 active volunteers that will be peacefully protesting throughout Folsom, especially around that Palladio. And if anyone wants to join us or sign our petition, they can do so on Facebook. Thank you for your time.
Just a quick question. Have you had a conversation with Harry Elliott's folks? Because obviously they're the leasing managers for Palladio.
They are non-responsive.
Okay.
Our group has, I'm probably the oldest one in the group at 46. Everybody in that group, there's about a dozen women. They're all Folsom residents, homeowners, and they're all in their 20s or 30s. They're really young people, and they've all been very diligent about writing letters and visiting the proper folks, but nothing's been done. And again, I urge you, monitor these people. You never know. You might make a buck for the zoo.
Thank you.
Your next speaker is Beth Kelly.
Good evening.
Hello. I'm actually here representing the my subdivision, which is the Scenic Oaks subdivision, and we're located off of Orangevale Avenue near the historic bridge. And our neighborhood does not have a homeowners association. We don't have property management, and we don't have a park or anything. But we do have about 2 or 3 acres adjacent, which is part of our subdivision that is, I'm sure you've heard of it, it's the canyon. And it is basically the creek and the ravine, and it butts up to the bridge. And on April 18th, we had a fire, and several of us in the neighborhood were just outside in the evening about 7:30, and we saw smoke. And it was a homeless camp that had started on fire. So we called the fire department, and they responded very quickly and went down. It was just near the bridge, and they went down into the property and put it out. And we had reported this homeless camp before this fire happened. But then the next day, the Folsom police came, and they had a contractor there, and they cleaned up the homeless camp, picked up all the trash. There was a barbecue grill down there. So we're kind of concerned. Our neighborhood, there's not a lot we can do. We have to, you know, this is an absent landowner that has this property that now, the homeless season is starting. We have to patrol it ourselves. We have to watch for, now we have fire danger. Many of us do not have a fire break behind our house. We live right against this property. And I'm glad to know we have firemen here and we have a plan. And I'm going to see what the plan says because, this is private property and we're just sort of, we're at a loss as what we can do.
Appreciate you bringing it to our attention. I was watching copious notes being taken, so I'm sure we'll, like the other places in the city where we're having issues, we'll certainly make sure this is on the priority list as well, because I think it already is. Thank you. Any other?
No further request to speak.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item tonight is your consent calendar.
Do we need a motion to continue? What was it?
H, I think.
No, you do not.
Okay. So I'll move, well, does anybody,
Anybody need to pull anything off consent?
I'll go ahead and move A through G and I and J.
Second.
Okay, call the roll on that motion, please.
Councilmember Sheldon?
Yes.
Gaylord?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes.
Next item is city manager comments.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to take a minute because I don't think we haven't met since we made these announcements officially, but I want to take a minute and officially recognize in front of the council Police Chief Rick Hillman, who I promoted to the position officially effective yesterday. So, Mr. Hillman, please approach.
I know you're a man of few words when we put you in front of the camera, but guess what?
Yeah.
You're going in front of the camera.
Then you can announce your promotions.
Yeah, I'm very, very pleased to promote Rick to our next police chief here in Folsom. Rick has known Rick a long time. We've served this community together for a long time, way back in the days when Rick was detective sergeant. He literally has experienced the longest job interview in history, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to promote Rick, and I want to give Rick just a minute to address you, and then I've got a couple other comments to make. So welcome, Chief. Congratulations. Proud to have you serve.
Thank you very much. I am honored to be the police chief for the city of Folsom. Working here for the past 23 years, this is a goal that I really didn't have when I started here. This was just a great community that I wanted to work for. And working up through the ranks, it's just grown to be a really great organization. If I may, one of my first official roles as a police chief was to promote a couple commanders. And they're both here with me now, from being lieutenants to now commanders, Jason Browning and Mark Shanrock. Jason will be in charge of our Operations Bureau, and Mark will be in charge of our Administration Bureau. You know, we're moving straight ahead. Cynthia Renaud did a great job with the department, and we want to keep it going in the path and manner that it is. So I look forward to working with you all and working with this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, as you go back to your chair, I'll let you.
Okay.
I just, it's nice because my very, very first ride along was with a wet-nosed rookie behind the ears, Rick Hillman, when he was just a puppy police officer who just got here from Placerville. And I have to tell you that though it was somewhat of a boring night, I learned a lot from Rick in that 6 hours that we spent together. Not only as an individual, that who he is and that he is then and certainly is now, a very honest, straightforward man of many talents, certainly of morality and ethics is probably highest, I could say, as one of his attributes. But more importantly, he's just a genuine individual that is easy to like, easy to follow. And certainly if Rick said, Steve, jump off that cliff because I'll make it safe if you do that, I would do it. So Rick, congratulations.
Yeah, it gives me great pride to know that we have any number of talented men and women in our Folsom Police Department, and in fact across our entire organization. And here's a fine example of that today. And it's just great to be able to have that kind of talent to promote from within. Secondarily, this is my favorite time of year because this is the time of year where the government puts its money where its mouth is, right? Government budgets and where we spend our money is an absolute expression of our priorities. And I have I've participated in 23 budgets in the city as a member of the executive and management team here. 8 of those budgets have had my signature on them as your city manager. Pardon me. And this will be my last because, as the city council knows, I have asked for the permission to retire this summer on July 15th.
I never got asked for permission. My answer would have been no.
Well, it's a manner of speaking anyway. I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to serve. And there's going to be plenty of time. I'll be around till July 15th, so plenty of time for remembrances and farewell, so I won't get into that this evening, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve. And with that, I'll just say good night.
Okay, Roger, we'll start you in this evening.
Congratulations, Chief, and I guess congratulations to you as well for retirement, and thanks all.
Carrie?
Great job on the budget, everyone. I'll talk to you later. In a good way. No, just a reminder for everybody to drive carefully. Graduations are coming up, proms are coming up. Kids are going to be out and probably not necessarily paying as much attention to their driving skills as they should, as are many of the adults that I see on the road. So I think I saw, I don't know, 4 people drive through red lights today. And I spent half the day in Roseville, so that's a lot. With that?
Thank you.
And I would only ask that we close the meeting in George's.
Andy?
Yeah, so congratulations to our newest police chief and newest commanders. Those are big steps, and I think all of us as a council feel we know you and feel very comfortable and are happy to see those promotions. So congratulations there. Everett, when you told me yesterday, it floored me, but we all knew it comes at some point. So I couldn't be happier for you and your family, and again, we'll have lots of time to compliment you, but just as an initial compliment, just thank you for your dedication to this city. It has meant so much. As Councilmember Howell just mentioned, dedicating the meeting in the memory of George, the economy, and many of us were at George's funeral services today. And read about George's life. I mean, it really is, we have a park dedicated in the name of him and his brother and his family. But, back in 1961, when George and Marilyn and Nick and Ann decided to move to Folsom, that has served this community incredibly well. So we were lucky for them to make the decision to land here a long, long time ago. And losing George is certainly sad, but just fascinating to, again, share memories of his life today. So my condolences to all of his family and friends, because he was a fun person. Lastly, our issue of our local paper, the Folsom Telegraph, right on the front page here, they earned some awards, which didn't surprise me. And these come from the California News Publishers Association, and they were California Journalism Awards. And I think all of us here and many in the community have really benefited from the dedication of Bill Sullivan and Rachel Zurin's attention to the community in our nice local paper here. So first of all, congratulations to those two and the others that work hard on the newspaper on a weekly basis. I encourage everybody in the community to read the newspaper. They really do a great job capturing a lot of different parts of the community, even the high school and youth athletics and things of that nature. But I would just respectfully ask the mayor to consider just bundling up a nice proclamation of recognition for the fine work and the presence of the Folsom Telegraph in the community. I think it's well earned and certainly appreciated by many in the community who reach out to that newspaper just to catch up on things. So with that, I'll say good evening.
Okay, Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things to say. First of all, congratulations to the chief. I think it's really great when an organization can promote from within. It says we're doing something right. To Everett, it's going to be sort of exciting when I can't argue with him. But he pulled the ultimate on me yesterday when he told me, and then he told me and swore me a secret. That's hard for me to do. So I went to bed early so I could keep my thing.
We were waiting to see who the first leaker was going to be.
That's right. I didn't say a word. But we appreciate Everett, Now, as far as George economy, everybody knows all the good things George has done. But some of them don't know about him establishing the Folsom Athletic Association way back in '79. or not, let's see, 79, yeah, is when they were chartered. And there's thousands of kids in this town, and to come again that had benefited by what George started. A lot of people had picked up what he'd started and made it better, but George was the foundation. And so we're going to respect that.
Bless you.
I just wanted to give you an idea of what sometimes all my colleagues put up with. On Monday, I went to a great Rotary program, mentoring high school juniors. It was a great program, 23rd year they're doing it, my first, which is unusual. That was on Monday. On Tuesday, I welcomed a class of third graders from Oak Chan to do a mock city council, and they love it. I mean, they love to sit in these chairs, and it's hard to keep them down. That was great. On Wednesday, I went to Folsom High and did scholarships for the seniors. On Thursday, I went to Vista and did scholarships for seniors. That's a typical day a lot of us get into. And at the end of the week, and when I got an invitation for a Sunday breakfast to discuss something, government, I said, no, I'm staying home. So I just think that that's what we do, and I don't have many outside responsibilities in downtown, the regional. All these people do. So it's just a matter that, you know, we just don't read the stuff. We have to get out and practice it. So, and we have a great staff that helps us survive. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ernie, I got to tell you, your participation on the 2x2 of the school district is invaluable. So to me, I don't care if you don't miss, or you miss every meeting in the region, stay on that one, because that is proven it's worth many times over. So thank you for that.
Me and Andy.
Yeah, I know it's you and Andy. And of course, Andy's got all these other hats as well. But yeah, the telegraph thing was in the works, so we'll take care of that. For people also don't know, George also served on some committees and commissions. He was one of my appointments for many, many years on the Citizens Advisory Commission when we had that for a while, along with other things, Rotary Club, president, participant, you name it, and he was probably had his hands in it. So this meeting will be adjourned in his honor. To Everett, when you gave me your envelope, I think I gave it back to you, saying, no, you can't. But at the same time, you know, Everett and I actually, I would say almost started careers together. I was a couple of years in front of him, but obviously I knew him from the day he started, and certainly I'll reserve most of my remarks on the last day you walk out of here. But yeah, that was a difficult pill to swallow. But I also understand and appreciate it, and have wished him the best of luck. And like I said, you know, go live life now. So I'm sure you will, and this community is certainly in much better shape for your efforts, and I think going forward, it'll continue to be in great shape. So thank you for setting that legacy and the foundation to make it easy for all of us up here, and certainly your senior staff as well. So I appreciate that. I'm remiss in catching up now. We have a little bit of time. It's not 11:30 at night. So Marcus Yasutuki and I know I always butcher your name, Marcus, I apologize. We're, on behalf of the city, we were in Washington, D.C. in March to not only go over a lot of the water issues, but got an opportunity to throw in some ancillary transportation issues as well. Water issues obviously are very, very big because there's a new operations manual that should be coming out soon. I know that the Army Corps of Engineers gave a commitment to the region, which I know Marcus will be following up on if he hasn't had it already, to a local meeting to find out where that thing is, because Fish and Wildlife, as usual and customary with them, they came out the last minute to say, oh, by the way, we got comments. So that kind of stalled a little bit, so it was supposed to be out between now and I think the 1st of June, middle of June, something like that. So I'll let Marcus, when it does occur, to make that announcement, because it does have a extreme relevant operational issue, if you will, for lack of a better term, on how that lake is managed up there going forward. Very, very important to all of us. And then last week, I just returned from the Cap to Cap. Again, I was on the transportation team with my focus being on the regional connector. We got some good response of that, so some great commitments from the team going forward with not only funding requests, but our grant looks like it's in really, really good shape, as we're hearing from the folks that actually make those decisions at Department of Transportation. So good job to the Cap to Cap team, especially on the connector side. I apologize for missing most of the other part of my team, but unfortunately you scheduled me at the same time. I haven't figured out how to clone myself, so I took the ones that were most important that I was supposed to be representing, which was cap to cap. So I think overall it was a great success. Congratulations to the Telegraph. I agree with everything Andy said and then some. If you don't have a subscription to Telegraph, please go out and get one. The more we support the Telegraph, the more they can do for the community, and it's a win-win-win. It always goes right back to this community, so we greatly appreciate that. Again, congratulations, Chief Hillman, and certainly to our two new commanders. We'll be doing some kind of celebration here some down the line that I've promised. I think I told Jason, so you can share it with your colleagues, and we'll take care of that one. But I've watched these gentlemen promote, obviously, from within as well. So congratulations, gentlemen, on your new step in your new career. Very proud of you guys, and I appreciate the fact that what you deliver to this community is of the highest caliber, and certainly demonstrative of your promotion. So thank you for that dedication. So with that, we're going to adjourn the meeting at 8:28 this evening in the memory of George Economy. Meeting adjourned.
Good job.